right, guys, let's get into tonight's topics. Let's start off with number one, and that is this. Big Ten Media Days just happened over in Indianapolis, Indiana, a place we haven't been in a couple years, Chris. Place we need to get back to. Saw all the
And
Michigan
Ryan Day
fans.
knows that.
Yeah. Saw all the Michigan fans taking pictures of their back-to-back banners. If they would have spanned just slightly more to the left, they might have seen back-to-back-to-back-to-back Big Ten championships by the Buckeyes. But, you're halfway there. We'll see if you can get another one this year. I have a feeling you're not. But let's talk about Ryan Day and seeing and hearing what he had to say, Chris. Now, I pulled a few things that I wanted to talk about. Feel free to jump in and talk about what you want to talk about. But the second question he got from the media was about the offensive line. I am glad that you and I aren't the only people with eyeballs to see what we saw during the spring game. There is definitely some concern about the offensive line in Columbus, Ohio, enough to even the Homer media had to speak to them as well about it. That being said, can I read you the quote that he gave? Because I thought it was incredibly interesting.
Hit me.
All right. So let's go over here to the Big Ten transcripts from that day. And I'm going to click on Mr. Ryan Day because it was the second question that he was asked. And it was, I was just wondering, no, how do you feel about your offensive line entering camp? Is it your biggest concern? How do you feel about that group, Ryan? That was the question asked. Ryan Day's response. In terms of guys going in conference games on the road, we did that a couple years ago against Minnesota. Last year, we're playing Notre Dame at home. This year, it's Indiana on the road. Your concern is guys who haven't played, guys that don't have the experience. So, Chris, he's talking about three offensive line positions: the right guard, the right tackle, the left tackle, and the center position. Notice what he goes to next. The two guards have played, and the two tackles and the center haven't. Now I'm excited about some of our options there. Josh Fryer looks good. He cut weight. Looks good. Looks better in his jersey. Okay. He's doing better. We also added Josh Simmons, who prefers to be called Jimmy. By the way. Okay.
We'll go with it.
Yep.
We'll have to call
him Jimmy Simmons. That's what he just says.
Yeah.
Now, notice what he goes to next. Unwarranted, unprompted. Luke Montgomery has been in the mix.
Yep.
Chris, he is a freshman. A freshman. The last time a freshman started on the offensive line, it was an emergency. It was Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And that didn't go so well.
No.
And he was the first one, I believe, true freshman, since Orlando Pace. That went great.
That went really well.
I like Luke Montgomery. I think he's going to be a great offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm. A little scary though to do as a freshman.
No way he should be starting year one. No way.
That's a very frightening thought to me.
That tells me everything I need to know. It's not good.
He also mentioned Tegra Shabola. And Eric, a guy that we talked about, that we thought originally was going to be in that mix was Zen Mikowski, and there was no even mention of him.
He's third string, dude.
He's third string, yeah.
Get on the transfer watch.
Yeah.
Heading back home to Indiana, baby. I don't know. Maybe he'll go to Purdue. Dylan, maybe you might be getting a little Zen Mikowski action. I don't know. Let's say good, dude.
No. When we're passing up, where is the talent? I mean, we've got so much talent that was supposed to be on that offensive line. Have we just not coached it up? I mean,
it's a developmental position.
It is.
It takes time.
It does. You shouldn't be starting in that position in a conference like the Big Ten for a team like Ohio State, unless you are an Orlando Pace or Corey Stringer. You shouldn't be starting until you're a junior.
Yeah.
I mean, I truly believe that. You need that that time to develop both physically and mentally to the college game.
Mm-hmm. He goes on to say that Luke had a really good summer. He goes, we also added Vic Cutler.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. We have some good pieces there. I don't like the word good. Good is
Yeah,
not good. It's
we
not
need
good
great.
enough. Exactly. Our opening?
Urban. What
Urban
about
Meyer.
average?
We're not about average here, boys.
No.
Good is average. That's where this offseason has been important. But in August, it's going to be critical for them to build a chemistry and make sure they solidify themselves as starters. I think we have enough people there. We feel good we can find that. But they have got to go do it. That's obviously something that we have to make sure we're focused on. Then he goes, this is a question about the offensive line. Notice where he goes next in his comment. Then obviously the quarterback position. Those are probably the two biggest areas where we've got to make sure we're doing a great job. I wrote an article on Fansided a while ago, and I said the three things that keep Ryan Day up at night: offensive line, quarterback were two of them, and yeah, he admits my article was
Yeah.
right essentially. Chris, I am scared to death that we go into Indiana, and I'm not worried that we're not going to win the game.
But
But
we
if
need to
we
dominate that game.
if we because Indiana's strengths their defensive line,
Yeah.
okay? If they expose us a little bit, I'm scared to death that South Bend is going to be a bad trip, dude.
I'll tell you what, and you know, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to be realistic here, Eric. If that offensive line doesn't come together, if we have to start a freshman on that offensive line because we don't have the pieces of the puzzle to protect our quarterbacks, given this conference, we could be looking at a 3-loss season.
Mhm. I know.
I mean, there are hungry teams out there, teams that are really good who have been, moving up that ladder. And obviously, I mean, I hate to quote the hairball, I do, but we all know, like he said, like the Nature Boy said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, they are the man, whether we want to admit it or not.
Mhm.
And if we don't have an offensive line that can stop that defense, it's going to be uglier. It's just going to be ugly.
So that was what I came away with immediately. I don't think Ryan Day feels good about the offensive line.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't sound confident. He didn't come off and rattle five names off to you right away and say, "There's my guys. As long as they stay healthy, we're going to be just fine." Nothing like that. It was all about competition, and then he brings up a freshman's name unwarranted, unprompted, and tells you he's looked really good. If he's looked really good, that means he's going to get a chance. He's going to get a
Now
chance.
this I will say, maybe he is just that much of a phenom. But I, you know, like you said, Orlando Pace was the last time that we saw a freshman come out and be successful
And
starting on
be
the
and
offensive
be
line.
dominant as a freshman.
Yeah,
We've seen other freshmen at other positions be dominant,
well,
but
sure.
offensive
Offensive line,
line is
no.
different. It's very, very different. To be a freshman in college and be dominant, that's that's rare air, right? All
Yeah,
right, let's talk about another question he got. Um, Asked about Brian Hartline and calling plays. Guys, I'm telling you, you're gonna have to almost tear
he
that away from
he
his
admitted as
hands.
much. He admitted
Yeah,
as much. He said basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, but once the season gets started, he's going to have to force himself to give some of that up.
yeah. Um, some of the other questions in the initial meeting, you can go read them, find them yourself. But I want to talk
Uh,
about
Are
what
we
you
going to
want to talk
discuss it?
about.
Don't
Yep,
give
yep,
it.
yep, yep. We're an Ohio State podcast. All right, guys, Chris. Do you have extra insulin, Chris?
Oh, it's not the insulin I'm going to need. My blood pressure is what's going to shoot through the roof.
All right, guys. Let me know in the comments section below. Ryan Day was asked if the Big Ten should consider moving the game from the end of the season to another portion on this part of the schedule so that they don't play each other back to back. And his response was, yeah, they should consider it. And collectively, Buckeye Nation about lost their ever loving minds. Here's the problem I have with that answer. He's being very open and honest about it. Did you notice when all the Michigan players and even Jimmy Hairball was asked the same question, what they all said? We don't care when we play them.
Yeah.
That's the answer I want. As a Buckeye fan, that should be our attitude. We'll play them 12 weeks in a row. It don't matter to us. We want to beat them 12 times. This is so pansy. And I understand why he wants to do it. Because as a schemer, as a play caller, it gives you more time to adjust to what they did the first time, as opposed. And I know it's hard to beat a really good team back to back, but where is your grit? Where is your competitive spirit? They've got more of it in Ann Arbor right now than we do in Columbus. Given that answer, Chris, go for it.
This is one of my, this further kind of puts it in my mind that Ryan Day may not be the guy for us. I understand he's had this great success. I understand what 45-6, something to that effect, correct? But the fact is, he doesn't win the big games. He is Cooper 2.0 right now, and now he wants to go and trash tradition. He doesn't understand that he doesn't understand the importance of the game. He doesn't understand the importance of the rivalry. And he can say he does all he wants. He does not. Like you said, Eric, he should be out there saying, hell yes, I want to face them 3 weeks in a row and shove it down their throat 3 weeks in a row. He's not saying that. It's a lack of confidence. It's a lack of I think, knowledge of the the rivalry, the significance of this game, and it's a lack flat out of testicular fortitude. He just needs to. I'm sorry. This had me just more further think that he doesn't. He could be a great X's and O's coach. I'm not going to deny that. He can be. But I don't feel like somebody who doesn't grasp the concept of the importance of this rivalry. I just don't feel how he's the right guy to lead this team.
Hard to disagree with you on that, man. I've been a big supporter and backer of Ryan Day through these two losses, more so than you. But that answer was just milk toast, brother.
Whether he was peddling to the press, whether he was peddling to the conference, I don't know. I really don't. But he needs to grow a sack and say, I'm going to just go out there and I don't care when you put him on my schedule. Or not that. Let me rephrase. I don't care what you want to do with your schedule. That last game of the regular season is my game to go out there and kick his butt all over the field. And if you want to give him to me 2 more weeks in a row, great. More fun.
Ryan's never going to see this. I understand that. I understand that.
God, I
But
wish you would. I really wish you would.
if he ever if I were to ever say anything to Ryan Day, I would say to him, if you don't start eating, sleeping, breathing, dreaming about beating him, then you can forget a national championship. You can forget Georgia. You can forget Clemson. Can forget Alabama. Right now, your concentration better be on them. And
And,
we're so lucky to be able to have those moments to go to the college football playoff. Even despite losing to them last year, we still had an opportunity to go win a national championship. And I know we were one bad targeting play away from winning it, but it would, even if we would have won and we would have rubbed it in Sean and every other Michigan fan's
they
face,
still can hang it over our head that they beat us.
bingo.
You know
It
what?
still feels empty.
And you know what even has me a little more upset about this is the fact that, like I say, I really don't feel he gets it. And where is Brian Hartline and where are Tim Walton in this, shoving it into his head that he's got to get this straight?
I'm sure that there is a dynamic of a hierarchy over there in the Woody Hayes facility to where you don't just walk into your head coach's or your boss's office and be
I'm
like,
sure there is a hierarchy, Eric. I'm sure you're 100% right. But you know what? Maybe they ought to just, you know,
the
I,
fact that Gene Smith comes out like a day later and says
yeah.
we need to flip the script. No kidding.
You think,
Like,
wait a minute. This is the same guy who was running his mouth because we were all complaining about one game a few months ago, right?
yeah.
One. Yeah. See, right there is the problem. You know, yes, Ryan Day is part of the problem, but Gene Smith doesn't put enough
This is
emphasis on it.
the
So,
same guy who wants us to
yeah,
go play the first round if we get a home field advantage in the CFP next year to go play at Indianapolis because it's a dome.
yeah,
You earned home field advantage. Use it
yeah, absolutely. Please, please bring me a SEC team to Columbus, Ohio
in
in
December.
December. That's right.
Oh my gosh. It's just it's almost like they have blinders on and they
Uh,
don't see the bigger picture
I,
around them.
I'm going to quote the coach from Varsity Blues here. They're the damn dumbest smart people I've ever met.